is she actually capable of providing for the baby and giving him a decent life?
Okay, let me see if I can put it one more time, okay? And I'm sorry if I'm not communicating clearly. Maybe it's my fault. So I'm going to try it again. When a woman goes into an abortion clinic and she has a late-term pregnancy, which this baby represents a late-term pregnancy, for the most part, probably 99.5% of the time of a late-term abortion, the woman that's walking into that clinic to have this abortion is doing it not because her life is in danger from giving birth to this baby. She's doing it because she does not want to be a mom.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I said the woman herself could be broke and not be able to provide for the baby after it's born.
There can be reasons why you don't want to be a mom.
Yeah.
Well,
About those reasons.
her option, young man, her option is always adoption. She could always adopt it out.
It's really bad to
So the woman is not choosing at this point in the pregnancy to carry the baby to term. Even if she was broke, even if she was on hard times, which we're all empathetic about. You know, we all can feel for that woman. But she could always have the option to give it up for adoption. But she's not doing that. So you guys, how does that make you feel?
Awful. My mom was an orphan. She told me how life was living like 6 years in an orphanage. She grew up she got shipped around a ton. It
I
sucks,
would never
dude.
want to do that to my
Why
child.
would you ever want to do that to a child? I'd rather not bring it into the world than
Adoption-
subject it to a life of shit.
Adoption is not an alternative to pregnancy. It's an alternative to being a parent. There's a huge difference there because you have to carry a child for 10 months. Have you ever had to do that, sir?
Never have.
No. And you will never have to do that. Right.
Right.
So why is it any of your business what other people do with the uterus?
Well, because, young lady, we've already made the point earlier that a woman, the baby in that woman, even though it's in her real estate, it's confined within her womb. That's her real estate. But in no way, shape, or form is this baby a part of her
All right, let's get
quote-unquote
straight.
body.
Like 98% of abortions happen within the first 12 weeks
You're
of
right.
pregnancy.
You're right.
Technically, when it's an embryo or a fetus,
At this
not
point.
a baby.
At this point.
That is not pregnancy. Anybody who's ever looked at
Yeah, this is 7 weeks.
I don't think so. I think you're full of shit.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean?
That does not look like a 7-week-old fetus. I've looked at the progression.
Yeah, this is a 7-week-old fetus from 7 weeks.
I don't believe you.
Oh, you think I'm lying?
Yes, I do.
Do you think this poster's lying?
Yes, I do. I think I've made that very clear.
So how many states?
Okay, now hold on a second. So, young lady, you seem surprised. You seem surprised. Why are you surprised
I'm saying
that...
that I have seen a picture of a 7-week-old fetus, and that does not look like that. And you obviously have a huge incentive to lie about that because you are anti-abortion.
Well, young lady, I'm a little offended that you're saying that I'm lying. I'm coming out here. I mean, I would be very careful when you accuse somebody of lying when they have a poster, they have done the research, and, you know, it's a little...
Life Issues Institute. Is that,
Of course, it's a
reliable source, do you think? Or is it
Well, sure, of course it's reliable.
propaganda? Because that's kind of what it's like.
Well, young lady, the right thing for you to do then is to go get a book on embryology and come out the next time with all the students listening right now and refute me with facts.
Very happy.
And refute me with facts and say, Roy, you're lying because here are the facts. But now all you're saying is you're just kind of throwing out your opinion.
Well, you know, that's my personal experience is that I don't think that is correct.
Well, that's a little bit nicer way to say it than that I'm lying. I mean, you know, I've been out here for many, many years, and I don't know if there's any student that would say, well, yeah, Roy consistently lies.
No, I don't think you lie, but Roy,
Your poster actually might be
Anybody
flawed.
alive at
I'm
this
looking at
point?
pictures on here, and 7 weeks actually doesn't look quite as developed.
Yeah,
Well, let's see it.
Maybe they found a particular one that looked particularly developed at 7 weeks, and that's a real picture. But on average, they look a lot less developed than that.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I can
because
show
in
you some
reality,
pictures
they
if
are
I
a
need
lot
the rare
less
case.
developed. So I don't see what this is proving at all. That it looks like a person. Is that what
Well-
you're preying on people's emotional insecurities? It's really sick.
Well, young lady, let me ask you this question. We know that life is a continuum, correct? In other words, life begins when the sperm meets the egg, and then it goes all the way through till death. Life is on a continuum,
That's not true.
right?
You are calling an embryo or a fetus a baby, and that is not the same thing as a fully developed human person who has experiences, who has a life, who can think about their situation, who can breathe. It's entirely different. And if my life could be saved by taking your kidney, and you didn't want to give me your kidney, would that give me the right to take your kidney because
Well, of course
you saved
not.
my life?
Of course not. But my question though is that life is indeed a continuum, right? It starts when the sperm meets the egg, and it continues in general all the way till that man or that woman is old, and then they die of old age. Life is a continuum.
What's the point you're making?
Well, all I'm trying to say is that this picture of this fetus is just a point in that continuum, and that whether it's at 5 weeks or 7 weeks or whether it's at 21 weeks, it's a continuum.
I don't get your point from that.
Well, my point is that a human life begins at conception, and it is on a continuum that lasts all the way in general until we lay down our bones, tired bones, and die. So this baby, whether it's 7 weeks, 5 weeks, 21 weeks, it's still a human being. It's just on the different continuum.
What about the life of the person who's carrying the fetus? Do you not care about that person?
Well, of course we do. Of course we
Alien though. That's not a
concern about a woman.
That's an alien
Okay, but
picture, sir.
you're
That's not a
saying
baby.
that-
How about that picture, sir?
That's also an alien.
Yeah. You know, young man, we try to have intellectual, reasonable, mature conversations.
But that's
And I don't want to offend you, but you're like acting like a 2-year-old. So if you want to join,
like a 7 week.
if you want to join the conversation and act like a man and conduct yourself,
How are we having an intelligent conversation?
you know, I welcome that. I really do. But if you want to be stupid, you know, this is a big campus, and there's a lot of people you can talk to. All right? So, young lady, so that's what I'm trying to say. So,
What I'm saying is that it doesn't matter because
Well, of course it matters.
that fetus's life is dependent on the person who's carrying it. And it doesn't matter what you think about that fetus. It matters what they think about that fetus because that fetus is infringing on their body space.
but young lady, you're incorrect on that.
Well, what about
Go
you
ahead
just
and
said
prove me wrong.
a few minutes ago that you don't owe her your organs if that would keep her alive?
Right?
So
by
why
your
does she
argument-
owe the baby her organs to keep it alive?
Because, young lady, genetically, this baby and all the other babies on the continuum, when it's growing in your womb, that baby has its own DNA, completely different from yours. That baby often has a blood type completely different from yours. It also is a completely separate physical.
But it's not separate because it's living.
Well, yes. Now it's hooked up to your umbilical cord, which is inside your. You're right. I'm not down it. But all I'm saying, it's not like. Okay, let me ask you this question: if you had a tapeworm in your body, a tapeworm, would you say that's my body?
No, I don't see an empty.
There you go.
Yeah, but
The tapeworm.
Part of your body.
that's not related to the
It's
question
not
of
tapeworm.
Well, sure it is.
her organs to the baby.
So, young lady, if you would admit that a tapeworm is not your body, even though that tapeworm is.
Which is why I would take it out.
Well, you're right, but I'm saying that you could have a tapeworm right now that's been thriving in you for years. We don't know.
I highly doubt that.
So all I'm saying is that you recognize that tapeworm is not part of your body.
Right, but also nobody's going to.
But why do you recognize that?
Around in their body.
Well, young lady, it's just an analogy, and all analogies break down. All I'm saying is that the baby that's in your womb, and please, don't say that I'm comparing a baby in the woman's womb with a parasite. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to make an analogy, which is not a very good analogy. But all I'm trying to say is this. If the baby growing in your womb can be sort of looked at, as a tapeworm, and you've just admitted that the tapeworm is not any part of your body, it's the same concept as the baby growing in your womb. It's just living, it's thriving, it's growing, it's getting its sustenance from you, but it's not a part of your body. You see what I'm saying?
Right, but if you take it out, then it won't survive. Exactly. So,
Well, I think the original analogy that she gave is still pertinent here. You have different DNA from me. You're a different person, obviously. If I'm dying of kidney failure and you have a fresh kidney ready to go, why don't you owe me that kidney?
It would save his life.
It would
Well,
save
because
my life,
Nathan,
and Roy,
yeah.
you're the only one there. For some reason, you're the only one that can give me that kidney. No one else can donate a kidney to me but you.
And if not,
Do you
we
owe
both
me
don't.
that kidney to keep me alive?
No.
Then why does a woman, the only person who can keep that fetus alive, owe her organs to that fetus to keep it alive?
Well, first of all, this young lady had sex. Now, I'm just using you as an example, okay? She had sex willingly
Yeah.
with her partner, and she's not stupid. So she knows that when we have sex,
It's possible that all right,
You're
how
gonna-
about this? We'll change it a little bit.
right?
How about you hit me in your car? That's why I'm having kidney failure. Now do you owe me your kidney?
That would be a different scenario. I would think that maybe there would be some mitigating factors on that.
But you would owe me it morally.
Maybe on a level, because maybe I was drunk. What if I was drunk and then that
Like
changed?
normal, lucid, driving down the road, and you happened to hit me. It's a statistical thing that could have happened, and it did.
Well, if it was just an accident, no.
It was just an accident.
I would say no.
You were just driving, knowing that you could hit someone in your car, but you chose to drive, and you hit me. That was just.
Well, again, that would be in my mind, that's different. Remember, but in her mind, in her situation, you see, every man and woman that has sex, you guys, this is another thing about morality. Every man and woman that has sex, they have to realize, I could get pregnant, or if you're a man, I could get her pregnant. There's responsibility.
You know, there's
But that's the
actually
same as
huge
anybody who
percentage
gets in a
of
car.
people who have had abortions were using birth control at the time, and it failed. So
But young lady, but remember though, you're right. But I admit that. I understand that. But remember, when you decide to have sex, even if you use birth control, because you're smart and because you've done the research, you know that no birth control is 100% effective. So when you engage in sex, you have to be understanding that you're taking a risk that you're going to get pregnant.
right, but consent to sex is not necessarily consent to pregnancy. Just like the point.
Well, but now wait a minute. In a sense, it really is.
But in a sense, it's not.
Because responsibility entails as a mature person to take responsibility for what we do and the outcomes of those decisions. So if you got pregnant, even if you took all the risks, all the precautions, and if you got pregnant, at the end of the day, you've got to sit down and say, you know what? I took a risk. I rolled the dice. And I didn't win. So I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm not going to take out my lack of responsibility on an innocent life that's growing within me. That's the right way to look at it.
Well, Roy, that's also equivalent, to use my tired old metaphor, of you getting in your car. You get in your car in the morning, accepting that there's a chance that you might run somebody over. And you go drive through your day, and it's probably not going to happen, but it does this time. Now, do you owe me a part of you?
Well, Nathan, I just can't. I understand your analogy. I just don't agree. I don't agree with how you're taking it all the way down the line, that's all. Because I think that, you're comparing apples with oranges.
I don't think I am.
It's very similar.
I think it's